about 25 minutes, and Ra can just push him a little bit more than he's going to be comfortable with. But the Osiris locked in for Wasted Talent won't have any problem necessarily dealing with the Loki, but also not a lot of kill potential out of that Osiris on to the Trickster God from the Norse Pantheon. And finally, Fenrir in the jungle, most likely here. There's the obvious kind of setup with the Kraken, and but the Cupid Fields of Love also a lot of synergy with the Ragnarok ultimate from the dog.
Yep. Well, it looks like we're going to go ahead and hop into the game. Now, what's a little bit shocking to me is that we haven't seen an Osiris yet throughout the qualifiers. Osiris got hit just a little bit in the offseason, and we haven't really seen him get favored at all thus far. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does in the competitive setting now. He didn't get hit that hard. I mean, he still has one of the strongest abilities in the game with his 3, which is basically a tether, which really shuts people down. So hopefully we can see him kind of abuse that.
It's probably less about the changes to Osiris and more about the changes to the Rune-Forged Hammer and Heavy Hammer over the course of last season. Where you should see his early game itemization not going to be quite as comfortable.
Yeah. He won't be able to start off with Smithy's Hammer and Hand of the Gods.
Yeah, the Witchblade changes as well. No more movement speed coming for him. So it just doesn't have those kind of catch-all items to buy. Has to consider the Hide of the Urchin a little bit more strongly here. And Hide of the Urchin, not a tremendously gold-efficient item until you have it stacked. And you're not going to be getting a lot of solo kills or assists necessarily out of that solo lane. Can be a tricky item to kind of fit into your build.
Yeah, it's going to be. This is a very, very tough matchup here for Wasted Talent, just looking at the God differential. Panthera is kind of good early. They're good throughout the entire game, with Poseidon kind of having more of a focus on the early game. But Wasted Talent has 2 gods who really need to get to the late game in Kali and Osiris. Yeah, they have their work cut out.
That's true. I mean, they are outclassed by Panthera, certainly in terms of player quality. Panthera has a lot of really, really strong European players. Wasted Talent, a little bit more of the kind of high-level ranked player. Can they kind of coalesce as a team and beat the much more experienced Panthera? And I kind of like their draft given that. As long as they can hold out through the early game, they will have such a massive advantage in the late game. They don't necessarily need to be way ahead. As long as they can keep this one pretty competitive for about 25 minutes, they should start to be able to pull ahead with that Kali, Agni, and Artemis combination. Just tremendous late game potential there. So it's a smart draft, I think, given the relative strengths of these 2 teams.
And we haven't seen a Loki solo in a decent while now, right? Loki's kind of fallen out of favor just because mages right now are very, very strong that can go in there. I mean, Chang'e, Aphrodite, Ra, all those 3 of those gods just, they can abuse Lotus Crown so well. And that's why we haven't really seen a Loki. So it might be a little bit of a shell shock for Wasted Talent to go against it if they haven't gone against it recently in scrims.
This is bad news in the early game for Wasted Talent. Sitting at the top of the XP per minute charts by quite a bit is that Fenrir, 750 XP a minute. Adapting going to be sitting at level 5, right around the 2-minute mark at this rate, it looks like. And that means that this first kind of Gold Fury contest is going to be even more difficult for Wasted Talent, because he will be dealing with a level 5 Fenrir.
Yep. Well, Kali went for the rotation. She tried to get a pick over in the duo lane, but really nothing came out of it. There was no follow-up pull from Sylvanas at all, so a little bit of waste. But now Fenrir could be getting caught. Now he's just going to get out of there. He throws a deep ward down and just rotates out. So good job by Fenrir, just kind of noticing that there was no kill potential, and it's a waste of his time.
The level 5 Fenrir, so much kill potential, especially with that Poseidon in the mid lane. About 30 seconds away from mid-camp's first spawn. And this is where you're going to see the team start to make their way over here. Right now, you do have adapting on the Fenrir, pressuring the duo lane a bit, but really he's trying to stall out that rotation from the Sylvanas and make sure that he can't make his way over to this left side mid-camp. And the question is, will they pull the Loki to try to secure right? As there's not going to be much that can really contest this Fenrir here in the early stage of the game. He'll need 3 or 4 Agni bombs. He's going to leap in.
Hey!
Ragnarok, there's the Kraken, and there is, yes, indeed, a dead Ayers for your first blood, to the credit of Optics.
And now Optics getting rolling early on. That's good. Poseidon's very, very strong early, which is definitely a necessity to get him started. But the one thing that's interesting for Agni is what Agni chooses to do. If he goes with the beads, and he's actually went with the Aegis to kind of deal with it. So with that, it's like, do I go for the beads to handle with Fenrir, or do I just get the Aegis? And he decided to go with the Aegis, which is the right call, because how much priority is Fenrir really going to put on the mid?
Fields of Love comes out in the duo lane. Artemis will escape it. Hercules still in the front line here, but he eats a trap. Boulder doesn't care, though. Tosses that one. And Raffer secures the second kill for Panthera. And, well, it's a little bit how you'd expect it to go, given the lineups here. Wasted Talent, as we mentioned a few times, a little bit more oriented towards the late game.
Yeah.
But not to say that, Optics in the mid lane, he will get cleaned up. Kali has gone a little deep here, though. Adapting should be able to clean this one up. Yes, over the top he goes. 3 for 1 now, as Adapting does get that kill onto the Kali. And, well, did that kill go to the credit of Kali is the question here.
No, it didn't.
It did not.
She got the assist.
Not helping her accelerate her farm
Wow.
either. And in the meantime, again in the duo lane, Etakasuke, however you would say that. His name is Sylvanas in terms of his god, and he has died. Yet again, 4 kills now in the early game. And, well, they can sustain a little bit of getting behind in the early game, can waste a talent, but at this rate, it's going to get pretty ugly. And really, the first Gold Fury is going to be the issue for them.
Yeah, that's what they have to worry about is this Gold Fury. I mean, Cupid's going to go back. He's going to start working towards his dev gloves. Raffer, though, he's got 2 kills with Hercules, and that's really just because early on in the duo lane, a lot of supports aren't used to having a pull that knocks up and then a driving strike that brings you directly into the creeps. You're looking at a lot of damage, especially early on. And seeing since Sylvanas, he does have Mark of the Vanguard, but it just simply isn't enough to deal with Raffer.
Looks like an invade coming out at the top side orange buff. Fenrir's going to be able to take his speed buff and leap out of there. Loki coming to be a bit of a nuisance as well. So the Hog successful. Kraken coming out in the mid lane, not going to do too much damage. Optics trying to make his way out and barely off the mark there with the pull was Sylvanas. But orange buff top side invaded and successfully taken by Panthera.
Now, it's going to be interesting to see if Wasted Talent can shove this wave and kind of rotate back and get the speed buff of Panthera. That's how they have to answer back. But the problem is this wave shoves so far up that Osiris really can't commit on going there, so they're going to not be able to invade as well. So another big victory here for Panthera.
But will this lead be big enough for Panthera? Fenrir will fall off pretty aggressively here after about 20 minutes or so. Damage potential goes basically bottoms out. And that's when you're looking at the Loki and the Cupid to really carry the brunt of the weight here with Poseidon breaking up those team fights and Hercules maintaining a front line versus, of course, just the hard one-position Kali bringing a lot of damage. But as you mentioned here, I mean, that's the thing to look at is can they secure Kali a decent amount of farm? Her net worth is the top on her team. And in fact, quite a bit below the top of the game, though, so it's going to be a tough task for her.
Artemis.
Left side lane. Artemis, she's going to find herself, well, in a dead spot, but does trade for the kill onto the Cupid, and the Cupid with those early kills worth a little bit more gold than she will be. So a decent trade for wasted talent there.
Raffer can kind of go into this hybrid damage support build if he really wants to. I mean, he's 3-0 as Hercules in the duo lane. He can really go any build he wants. He could go for a complete support, but there's really no need to. But eyes have turned over to the mid Harpies on the left side. Adapting's going to be here. Kali trying to poke it. They're not able to get it, though. And they have the timer on the right as well. So they will be looking to contest this. Fenrir can jump over the wall and make an easy contest as well. So it looks like they are going to commit on this.
Right side lane, Kali's going to have to use her Hog if she wants to drop this one down. In comes Fenrir. She will secure it for her team. Wasted talent. Takes her right side camp.
That was big. That was really, really big. I thought Fenrir was going to kind of come around the backside and just try to eat her and then drop her for Poseidon, who does have Kraken, but the timing was just a little bit off. It looks like they just really cared about getting the Harpies instead of the kill, which is the right call.
Adapting here, well, he's looking to set up a kill on the left side lane. Artemis seems none the wiser, at least for now. Oh, this is bad news. Adapting has a pretty decent angle here. Can he cover the distance? She doesn't have Tusky.
Nice.
Used it for the kill earlier, putting her right in the spot. There's
Rip.
the heart bomb. Here comes the in-hand, and pop, boom goes the dynamite. Emilito now with his 3rd kill in this match.
Yeah, that was a good job by Raffer as well. So Raffer, who's already 3-0, he doesn't really want any of these kills. He's a support. He wants Cupid to get on there. Well, he's got the pull on Kali. He soft serves it up to Emilito. He's got the heart bomb on him, but there's going to be the destruction. Who's going to get the kill on Kali? Most likely going to be Adapting. Adapting gets yet another one, and Sylvanas is forced to waste an ultimate.
I don't think he was forced to do anything there. I think he just used the ultimate. I mean, they had no kill potential. They had already used all their stuns to kill the Kali. Really a pretty big misplay.
Dude, they're going in.
Yeah, I mean an ultimate there. A lot more chance for a play to ult him under the tower than just kind of in the middle of the lane.
I get it. I think he was just like super scared of the damage potential that they have when you're looking at who's in that lane. You were looking at a 1-0-2 Fenrir and a 3-0-1 Hercules. You're going to get hit by a lot. So I guess he just ripped it.
Yeah, Hercules getting credit for those kills in the duo lane. Only the 1 kill to the favor of Emilito, but he does have 5 assists already on this Cupid. I mean, they're just snowballing really out of control here. I mean, you look at just the level kind of distribution for Panthera. Everyone level 10 with the exception of the Loki at level 11 versus level 7 Sylvanas, level 8 Artemis. The duo lane just really getting hammered on. Sure.
And they know it, though, too. You said it earlier where, you know, Fenrir's going to kind of stall out at around the 20-minute mark. They don't want this game to go much longer past that. So we're going to see early objectives for us. We're going to see constant team fights. And now Hercules, he throws Kali back. He's got Fenrir helping. Poseidon's on the rotation as well.
Oh, there comes the Fenrir, speaking of which. With this kind of lead, it's possible for him to transition into more of a damage role. We'll get to that in a moment, though. Sylvanas will get cleaned up as well. Nicely placed Kraken to cut off his escape route from Optics there. 10th kill of the game going their way. Fenrir does have extremely potent steroidal potential out of his 2, but generally speaking won't be leveling that until kind of the last 4 levels. We'll see what Adapting's looking at here. Yeah, indeed. So the Seething Howl has no levels in it. He's building, as you can see, into what appears to be Devourer's Gloves, although this could still be the Bloodforge.
Could be the Bloodforge.
It's setting him up for a little bit better of a late-game potential, but this god desperately needs defensive items to maintain relevancy. So that it's difficult for him to really transition into a damage role, even given how strong Seething Howl is on paper. You got to have the Magi's Blessing and probably something else to really remain viable, unless you're this far ahead and snowballing. So we'll see what Adapting likes to do with it.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Jotuns as well, just to get that little bit of penetration. Helps out with the mana as well. Gives you a little bit of power, kind of goes on there. It feels standard in the Fenrir kit. It's just, get a Jotun's Wrath. Why not, right?
Right.
Like, you never are complaining about someone picking up a Jotun's Wrath.
Yeah, that's what's going to be the kind of the question here. Is with this, it's probably a Devourer's Glove pickup. Yeah, they just get finished now by Adapting. It's got to be something like Magi's and Jotuns or a Winged Blade or something, some kind of defensive hybrid item coming up in the next item for him, or they're going to be able to really kill this dog. But at level 12, he's got a lot of HP, and there's not a lot of burst potential on the side of Wasted Talent when you look at them. It's primarily Agni that's really bringing any kind of instance-based burst. So they'll have to use the Sylvanas ultimate, Kali stun, maybe Osiris ultimate as well to really burst anything down. So could be a fairly easy game for Fenrir to maybe skip some of those defensive items.
Well, Loki's got to be careful here. Loki committing hard on Death Panther. Here comes Kali. He should be able to get out of this here. The Vanish is getting ready to come up. He's going to be stunned. And he's curtains here. Agni with great bomb placements there. He stuns him out. This is at least chipping at the lead a little bit, but on the left side, Fields of Love is down. Tusky's going to stop Cupid from getting the kill potentially. Cupid's going to continue and then gets out. Isn't able to get it. The Whiff's just doing that much healing for Sylvanas.
Yeah, Sylvanas barely makes it out of there with his life, but they do pressure them under the tier 2, and this should open up the possibility to take that purple buff on the left side of the map. And they will, and Adapting's going to make his way over there as well in case there's any kind of contention, but there is not, and Emilito perfectly happy to go back to lane and keep this wave pressured right up to that tier 2. They just have such good map control. Even though the vision isn't really superior, it's just the overall map control is nice.
Yeah, Fenrir does have his ultimate. He knows Artemis is here. He's going to go for it. There's going to be one. He can turn on this. He's going to put her in the mouth, and then she's going to beads out of there. So that's beads down for Kali. That is still a win, even though they didn't kill her.
Yeah, not that super high impact play that you necessarily always want, but it does set up their ability to especially go for objectives through this mid game here with Kali's beats down for quite some time now. 160 seconds remaining on that cooldown.
Now, I was wondering how long it was actually going to take Fenrir to get stacks on his dev gloves. Already, he's had it for about a minute and a half, and he's got 19 stacks. So he does have to prioritize farm just a little bit, but with the kills and everything else, he's going to have no problem, and he's going to force out the dash. This might be a dead Agni. This should be an easy pull here for Hercules, but nope, easy Kraken.
I pulled him out of the Kraken there. They were a little bit too good on their abilities, but they do still get the kill. It goes to the credit of the Hercules, and a kill on the Agni should mean this mid lane going down. There goes the Loki deep, and that's a big kill on the Kali to slow her down. As she's trying to work towards those chin size, double pull, double stun coming up from the Hercules. He's rooted another tower, uses the boulder. Sylvanas knockup comes through.
Not good.
And they're going to pile onto Sylvanas. Tussie's going to come out, but that's just going to be good enough to chain stun a couple of targets here, and only one caught under tower range. It's a full-on retreat from Panthera, at least for the moment. Emilito, can he pick off this tower? Did he heart bomb the tower? Am I crazy? Did I just see that?
Nah, you might have been a little bit crazy. This Artemis is actually going to get out. Ninja Demi doesn't want to commit on this, so now Osiris is stuck. He's going to get pulled by Hercules. Hercules brings him right back to his team. He's having a hard time. They force out the ultimate as well of Osiris. Meanwhile, right side lane Adapting is shoving it, and he's going to probably be able to get this tier 1 tower. No one's going to be able to contest him anytime soon, but he doesn't have any minions is the problem.
Yeah, you know, the way this game is going, Brandon's earlier kind of ridiculous assertion that Raffer's the best player in the Pro League with one game played is looking actually maybe legitimate. Raffer unbelievably powerful so far through this game, has been really on the mark with those Earthbreakers, and well, which is the pull. And I mean, he's had some serious success here. Raffer looking like a force to be contended with in the European support scene, but now we'll see what he can do as Agni and Sylvanas are here.
Dude!
No Divine Ruin, and he jukes everything.
Those plays are so hard to actually get because you get so caught up in the moment of just trying to get away. Raffer just showing how much self-control he has to wait it out, wait for the stuns. He knows Agni's a big burst. He's going to try to CC him there as well as Sylvanas. That is a fantastic play.
Optics just chilling, letting the wave push back up towards him. Doesn't want to give Agni too much easy farm to pick off. With their 13,000, nearly 14,000 experience lead, 8,000 gold difference to the credit of Panthera. It makes a lot of sense for him. Just strip that away from the Agni, keep him a couple levels behind. Just gives you even more kill potential with the Kraken.
Yeah, and Optics has done great with this Kraken. Minus the one time where Raffer pulled the guy out of the Kraken. Raffer's been everywhere. This is what you expect out of Poseidon, and this is what we've been seeing all qualifiers long, and just in general from Poseidon. Until 20 minutes, this is when Poseidon has to be the most active, and then from there, as the game progresses, it's really just about setting up the Kraken, doing a lot of burst damage, and just hitting people with Trident.
Yeah, without the Agni there, they probably look to make a play onto the Sylvanas, but Fenrir getting fairly low as well, adapting, sitting about 50% HP, now healing back up as the health pots come through. And the Seething Howl helps him out a bit, but Kali, not much you can do about this one, little girl, as Raffer hits yet another
he missed
pull.
the driving strike.
But here comes the drive. No, he hit the driving strike. It was beads away. Yeah. Ragnarok comes over the top. The Boulder doing a lot of damage on the backside. Adapting does find a kill onto the Artemis in the mid lane. It's dead Sylvanas as well as a Kraken comes through. This should be a free Gold Fury coming out for the boys of Panthera. You have the Kali. She's going to die to Heart Bomb after using her ultimate to secure a kill onto the Fenrir, but adapting is a fairly cheap price to pay for the squad. They drop 1, they pick up 4, and this should lead to either a Tier 2, a Gold Fury, or both for the side of Panthera.
They'll probably look to take this Tier 2 and then just rotate out. They're all pretty healthy. Raffer's full health. He's not worried about anything. He went Sovereignty, and now he's going to be going into a Wingblade next. The 3 of them should be able to take the Gold Fury relatively easy. Looking at it, you got a fully stacked Dev Gloves on Cupid. He's going to be able to lifesteal off of this very easily.
1 in 5 Kali does have her chin size done, but does not have a lot of pressure around the map. Also has the Hog and Beads combination, so no sprint to stay with her targets. It's going to be a tough task to kill these gods, especially considering the Cupid and Poseidon and Loki, the 3 squishier targets that she has available to her, all have pretty damn good mobility. It's going to be a tough uphill battle for Kali, but certainly one that she's capable of doing.
Yeah. Well, what's really scary is that Wasted Talent's front line is very, very squishy. Sylvanas has 1670 health, and he doesn't have a single item completed besides Mark of the Vanguard. Yes, he's going to be looking to go into a Sovereignty, but he's still going to be a little bit off of that. So they really need to get him back involved in the game. But that's what's so tough about being a support player. If you get down just a little bit early on, it's so hard to get back into the game.
Yeah, you see him level 9 versus the Hercules level 15, a 6-level disparity between the 2 supports. Net worth-wise, it's Loki and Fenrir topping the charts, and Fenrir, he's built, well, so far, all damage items. and this is really maybe where Wasted Talent needs to start the comeback here and start picking on this Fenrir, who doesn't have any defense whatsoever. But again, their lack of burst on this team makes it pretty hard to take down even a target like Fenrir, given the level advantages.
Yeah. Fenrir, really, it just comes down to they think that he's so strong and that they really don't know how to peel for him. Their peel right now is looking like a Kali stun, Agni stun, and then Sylvanas. But Sylvanas, if he tries to peel, he's just going to get blown up by Panthera, and they know that. They know he's squishy, so they can focus him. And it looks like they're actually going to commit on this. If Raffer gets this, which he does, this might be one dead Artemis.
What a play. Uses the driving strike to close the ground, then hits him with the Earthbreaker. And, well, Raffer has had a near 100% success rate with that. Ninja Demi, he's going to look to pick on the Osiris here. Maybe not the best target for him to try to kill, but it's basically just, this is my lane partner. I want you dead. Kraken comes out to kill Etoske, or Sylvanas yet again. Now taking a spill for the 6th time. 2 assists to his credit. Really having a tough game here and being suppressed, especially with a Loki that has gone Heartseeker, Jotuns, and working on a Titan's Bane. He's going to be able to start picking off the Sylvanas really at any point. And that's going to make it pretty difficult, given that he has a 10-level advantage. Does Ninja Demi over that Sylvanas, so they'll have to waste less and less cooldowns now on the tank to secure objectives. But with Fire Giant buff and pressure on the Phoenix, they're going to fall back. However, not wanting to take the fight just yet, adapting once another damage item.
Yeah, well, on top of that, they also want to they have the timer on the jungle buffs. I mean, Wasted Talent hasn't looked at a speed buff since the beginning, and Osiris, I don't believe, has had more than 1 blue buff as well. So they're really just controlling it. They don't want them to get back in at all. So, yes, the red buff is going to be coming up. That'll help out a bit. But you're looking at 3 people splitting 2 camps, which is going to help with experience. But really, far left lane, duo lane, is all the way shoved up. They are not going to go and try to farm this lane because that's way too unsafe for them. They have no vision at all in the Panthera jungle as well as on Gold Fury. They have 1 ward right now where it's on their speed buff.
Yeah, some more rewards could probably help them out a little bit through this mid-game, moving into late-game period. Another thing to kind of consider here is that Wasted Talent hasn't invested into any anti-healing, and I can see, generally speaking, that you wouldn't want to waste itemization on the enemy support necessarily. But at this point, Raffer is now basically just another core, has gotten enough farm and has, well, 10 assists and 5 kills to his name with no deaths. He's going to be hitting pretty damn hard with just his level advantage, and they really need to have some kind of answer to this Hercules in the front line. If they don't, the fights will just continue going exactly how they have, with Raffer just being an unstoppable force in holding the front line of these fights for Panthera. But with no Divine Ruins, no Creeping Curses coming online yet, it looks like he's going to have basically kind of the dream game for Hercules. No one's building anti-heal, and you're ahead.
Yeah, and on top of that, Ninja Demi just hit Artemis 1 time and almost killed her. He almost one-shot her. That's what Loki does, so they're actually going to go for this siege. This is looking like it might be the last fight. Wasted Talent really has to hold. They have to commit everything right here, Bart. They have the stun on adapting. Here comes the Kraken, though. The Kraken's going to hit too. Osiris
in a lot of trouble as he gets pushed out of this fight. The 2 kind of frontline bruisers going to take him down. Agni may die. The Loki dot, no, not applied just yet. Doesn't matter. Wow. Raffer unstoppable with his 7-kill streak. Woo! He's going to take up the Titan Dew for a little bit of good measure. They do take that Phoenix. They're going to move into the mid-Phoenix now as well. Raffer perfectly happy to take this one up with mitigate wounds. He'll start healing back now. Mid-Phoenix does go down. Kali in a bit of trouble. Fenrir already leaped. Can Hercules pull
I thought he got that.
Just off the mark. Raffer, he's good, but he ain't that good. Titan now the one to take some damage. 24 kills to 4. 20 minutes, 30 seconds in. Panthera will defeat Wasted Talent in her first game of the European qualifiers.
24-4. I don't think we looked at the charge once, by the way, just because it was so fast.
It was
Experience difference was 28,000. Gold difference was 19,000.